Hello and welcome to my channel. I am back after a little bit of a break. It is the last week of fall semester, and those of you who are in academic roles that involve lots of teaching, you have really or are really either approaching or just coming out of one of the most stressful seasons of the academic year, grading week or finals week. So for me, it's gradings week. So this is a channel where we are really recovering from burnout, um, facing the reality of being stressed out and anxious because of your career. It's a safe space for us to make new decisions, to bring into reality the careers that we've been dreaming of, the careers that we worked hard to create, the careers that we aspired to when we were first imagining what academic life would be like. So, Academic Life with Crystal Harris, Dr. Crystal Harris, is basically a safe space for us to talk about the challenges that we've faced in our careers in higher education. It's for mid level women in the academy, either in a faculty teaching position or in an administrative position or in a leadership position. And by mid career, to me, that's not like you have to have a certain status. You could have been an adjunct, you could be an adjunct professor or a lecturer. But if you've been doing it 5, 10 years, I was a lecturer for 9 years before I was on the tenure track. And I am a firm believer that we define, we are the ones that decide when we're mid career versus early career, because you can change careers and feel like you're recycling back through some of the developmental stages of being early career. However, I think this position of being mid career, feeling stressed out, burned out, um, head under the water, barely able to come up for breath, you reach a point where it's not sustainable and you say, can I continue to do this? Will I continue to do this? And if I'm not going to continue to do this, how do I figure out what my next step is? And so, all of those conversations are what this channel is about. So, if you're a person who's mid career, a woman in leadership, especially women in higher education, and you feel like it's got to be time to do something different. This is a wonderful season, end of the semester, getting ready to go into a new whole calendar year to really envision what that would look like. And so this topic today was actually inspired by a video that I found that came out a few months ago, sponsored by the Scholar's Voice, which is an academic writing retreat business, an academic writing business or channel. And I think they have a podcast too. But anyway, Kathy Mazak had a video that says, "You are too precious for a mediocre career." I wanted to check my notes to make sure that I said it correctly. And so that's my message today. I actually watched the whole video. It's about 37 minutes long. And what inspired me about that was this idea that we have been too long willing to settle for a mediocre career. We don't have to settle for a mediocre career. And whether or not you have the funds to take a retreat or invest in private coaching or group coaching or whatever you need to do to figure out what your next steps is, this is a channel and a space and a community for women who want to make a decision to do something different, to have the career that they deserve, to have the career that they dreamed of. My coaching business is called Pursue Higher Dreams Coaching, and I have done all manners of supporting people in the various developmental stages of getting into graduate school, making it through the research of graduate school, completing their doctoral programs, um, finding a tenure track or even a teaching position that's full time that's not tenure track. So I've done all the things, and I feel that it's one of my passions to see people make their career dreams come true. And even before I knew that I'd be doing career work, I named my company Pursue Higher Dreams Coaching. So today I want to talk about why we deserve to say no. One of my favorite steps in a framework that I created that's about empowering your teaching talks about saying no, not yet. And the reason why I say no, not yet is a lot of times we're thrust into roles that we're not trained for, and just kind of given a sink or swim mentality. And that's very common in the academy. At the institution that I work at, which has been a wonderful place to work for several, more than a decade, almost 2 decades. However, it is our culture to let people go to the deep end and see if they can swim. And when I myself was in that situation, I remember losing a lot of sleep trying to decide, given that I recognized that I wasn't able to perform at the level that met my expectations and things were slipping through the cracks, how could I get out from under this sinking feeling but not let my leadership down, my colleagues down, my students down? And lo and behold, I had a conversation with a colleague of mine talking about, portfolio season and, all the things that they have you write when you do your end of or annual, I should say. Not It's not really the end of anything. It's always at the most inconvenient time in the semester. But one of the reflections I had was that this administrative role was really stealing all of the joy that I had from teaching and from research and even from service. I mean, there are things that I wanted to do that I was excited to do that were service but couldn't do because of the burden of this academic role, administrative role, program coordination role. And so, in talking with her, she says, "Well, you've done it. I forget how many years at that point. What if you just tell them you're not willing to do it anymore?" And I was like, "Duh, can I do that? Is that a thing? Can you say, hey, I'm not going to do this role anymore?" And guess what? I did. It was literally less than 7 days. I sent an email to my dean at the time and said, we need to talk. I said, I can't keep doing this. And I gave him all the reasons why. And we started talking about who could be next, who would be the right person. And what I learned from that experience is that a lot of times we're killing ourselves trying to keep our head above water, paddling, 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 paddling. You know what they say, the little duck underneath the water. And we don't even have to. Like, guess what? It's been more than a year since I stepped out of that position. Yeah, I don't even remember when it was. But what I will say is that, guess what? The department is still standing. I still respect my colleagues. They still respect me. I've gone on to do some incredible work actually, it's coming on 2 years since that happened. And I am so glad that I had someone be a safe space where I could think out loud the things that were keeping me up at night about leaving a certain role or certain responsibility. That while I think I did a great job in that role for the 5 years I had it, what I recognized is that other people could also do a great job in that role, and that if I stayed in it, I was really not doing myself or the department or the students in the department any great service. I'm a big believer of trying to identify what are your dreams and how do you go after those dreams? How do you pursue those dreams? Be they in higher education or outside of higher education. I know that we're in a time in higher education where so many people want to jump ship, and I'm not in a place of passing judgment on whatever decisions people are making to the benefit of their career, because I actually inherited a lot of um, work in my 5 years as a program coordinator of trying to fill classes when people decided to move on because their time was up in our institution, if not in teaching at all. And I also had the joy and the pain of hiring new people, and that brings life and energy into the department as well. And one of the things that I do enjoy doing is mentoring new faculty. I think there is a place in your career for every emotion and every feeling we have, and that we have to be willing to honor those emotions, honor those feelings, and say to ourselves that we are enough and that we can do the things that we want to do. Maybe not overnight. I actually think my story about stepping down from a position that I held for 5 years and could have given up probably 2 years earlier, rather than put myself through that misery. The lesson that I learned from that is that we have to honor our feelings, is that when we're starting to have angst and anxiety and stress about something, it's time to make a decision. Just like you made this decision, you can make a different decision. It's not a life sentence. We are not beholden to the people in our organizations to make their lives easier. That the people in the food chain that are higher than us actually accepted those responsibilities to be able to look at staffing and labor. That we have to be responsible for really examining our own resource. We are a resource. We are a human resource, but we have to be responsible for honoring our own capacities and our own desires and being good stewards of our energy, both time, money, physical health, emotional health. You know, those are all resources that are in limited supply. None of us, no one lives to be, no one lives forever. We are all on earth for a limited amount of time, and be that 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, 200 years. We don't know too many people make it to 200. You don't deserve to spend. Your life is too precious to spend any part of that being stressed out and overburdened. We have to look at how can I make a different decision. Our careers, we are too precious to live in careers that are unsustainable. Don't settle for a mediocre career. Make a different decision. That's my message today. That's my story today. I would love to connect with you. Down below should be my different social media ways to connect. I am working on a workbook for people who are thinking of taking, academics who are thinking of taking a career break. I'm also going to have an online writing retreat coming up in the spring for us to do some envisioning for our career and for our semester. And so if you want to be notified about that, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and then you'll be notified by YouTube when I drop another video. And I would love for you to comment below other topics that are important to you. If you have been feeling this, if this message really resonated with you, and you feel like your life, you agree that your life is too precious for a mediocre career, that you have been wondering how do you move beyond these feelings that you have. And it may be that your career, and I should also say, you may also feel like, I wouldn't necessarily say that I had a mediocre career. In that season, I had a great career in the terms of meeting goals and objectives that other people set out for the program. It was not fulfilling my dreams and desires. So for that reason, I really couldn't have the peace and the enjoyment of my teaching and my research the way I wanted to. And that was keeping me up at night. So you might not like that particular word or that particular framework that I shared that inspired me from the other video. But if you feel like you are not living in the career of your dreams and that there are things that need to be shifted, perhaps I know this channel will really resonate with you, and perhaps the event that I have coming up in January would be of interest to you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.